And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment, which is going to talk about the Dodgers and their sweep over the Braves. Now, before that, though, I would like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get run in the air, please use the link gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show today. All right, so over the weekend, mine's still in the last segment apparently. The Dodgers swept the Braves, and it's a pretty big deal. I mean, these are the two teams that I talked about on Friday that I think are the two premier teams of the National League. I don't think really anybody is going to say anything different from that. These are the two teams that consistently over the last few years have been the cream of the crop in the regular season for the National League, have set records with winning, have hit a lot of home runs, been really great teams. So whenever these two teams do play, it is a spectacle and it is something to watch. So seeing the Braves get swept was honestly a shocker. I did have the Braves above the Dodgers in my power rankings on Friday. Would I change that now knowing what I know? I probably would, because, the Braves didn't even win a game. I understand it's in LA, the Braves are away, but at the same time, man, I mean, geez, you gotta win at least a game. That's just insane. So, my overall thoughts is just: do I think, first of all, the Dodgers and Braves, there's a significant gap there? I don't. I don't think there is. I think that both these two teams are really good. I think that, again, they're the cream of the crop in the NL. I think that they are very, very good. So when looking at this, I was surprised that the Dodgers did sweep them. Now, you look at some of the stats here for the series. First of all, the Braves scored six times in 29 innings, which is not great. Not great. The Dodgers outscored them 20-6, over 14 more runs than them. Dodgers starting pitchers allowed 4 earned runs in 19 and 2/3 innings. Shohei Ohtani went 8 for 12. Teoscar Hernandez homered twice. So it was kind of just a beatdown from day one for the Dodgers. And I think it's just showing what we've all figured throughout the entire offseason now is when the Dodgers are at their peak, when they're playing like the Dodgers, when every single player on that team is playing at the top of their level, nobody can beat them. I mean, the main problem with them in the past years has been starting pitching. And I unfortunately think they've got that figured out now. I still think there are some questions in that department, mainly with the depth part and some injury risks. But, you have Tyler Glasnow, who's been pitching like a Cy Young favorite currently. You have Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who, of course, has been great and is the boy wonder, not the producer, but just boy wonder in general, just the guy that came out of nowhere and is insane. So, $300 million to a 25-year-old, I think is shows you how good of a player he is and what they think of his potential. So the Dodgers have that. They signed James Paxton, who's great. They're getting Walker Buehler back. They have Bobby Miller, Emmett Sheehan, Michael Grove, Landon Knack. There's just so many good players in this Dodgers team, this Dodgers rotation, and I think it's just, again, showing how good the Dodgers team is, how good they are on paper, and it's just incredible, honestly. So if I'm a Dodgers fan, I'd be excited what's going on right now with them. I'd be happy. So going to the Braves now, would I be a little worried about them after getting swept by the Dodgers? Yes and no. Yes, because you're getting swept by the Dodgers. You're getting swept by a team that is your rival, a team that is your equal, and not even winning a game is something that is a little, it's a little worrying, I'd say. But at the same time, it's very early into the season. We're not going to take these things as fact right now. We're not going to just write the Braves off for the entire season because they got swept once by the Dodgers. So if you're thinking that, I would have to disagree with you there. I do not think that is an accurate representation. But it is cause for concern if you're a Braves fan. You're now second in your division by 2 games. The Phillies, who have been killing it. I think I may have a segment tomorrow about the Phillies and just how good they have been, because I do want to talk about it. But, they're now 2 games below the Phillies, who have been killing it, who have been so good. And I think that is a little cause for concern, because you're supposed to be, the big bad Braves, the mighty Braves, the team that is never going to not win the NL East, is going to win 100 games in the regular season. But I think there's some flaws with the Braves team right now. First of all, a player I want to talk about that is not being talked about right now for some reason, that's Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, Acuna has been bad. Like, I don't want to, overreact or, do anything like that, but just to put it bluntly, he's been bad. I mean, he only has .5 WAR this season, which, isn't great. Isn't bad, but isn't great. Not what you want to see. His OPS is 738, OPS plus 112, and well, for any other player, that's a fine season. It's Ronald Acuna Jr. This is a guy who won MVP last year, was said by a lot of people to be the best player in Major League Baseball, and he's performing like this. I think that's a big blow to the Braves. He is their leadoff man. He is the guy that sets the tone, and you expect him to have a much better season than this. And when he's not, I think that it does affect the Braves a lot, and it does hurt them a lot. So I think that's another thing we have to look out for the Braves is, if their star player isn't performing as well. And after that, you look at injuries. I mean, we all know about Spencer Strider. I mean, he's hurt. He's going to be out for the entirety of the season. I'd say there's probably a less than 5% chance he comes back this season. I don't think he will, even if they make the World Series. So, you look at that, and again, it's the pitching with the Braves. The Braves pitching has been their Achilles heel these past few seasons, mainly in the playoffs. I think you look at their rotation right now, and you kind of have the same concerns. You look at Max Fried. I mean, he's a great pitcher. I'm not gonna, sit here and say anything else. So he's a really great pitcher. He's obviously the positive parts of your rotation. But next, you go to Reynaldo Lopez, who has been good this season, has been a really great signing by the Braves. But at the same time, is that really a guy you trust, even with how good he was in the regular season, going your game 2 of the playoffs? You're in the NLCS, you're in the LDS. Is that really a guy you want and getting you a must-win? I'm not sure I would. I think that the playoffs are a different beast, and I think you need a quality, established starting pitcher. So I think that is another thing to take into consideration. You have Chris Sale, who has been okay for the Braves, nothing too spectacular, just okay. Is that the guy you want starting Game 3? Is that a guy you really trust to have a significant outing, a really good outing in the year 2024? I'm just not sure about that. So I think when you take these things into consideration, I think the Braves do have some question marks, mainly in the pitching aspects, but some in the offensive aspects as well. And getting swept by the Dodgers in pretty humiliating fashion as well. It wasn't really even close. I think gives us a right to ask questions about your team, gives us the right to say, hey, what's going on over there? What's going on with you guys? Are you okay? Like, are you even good at this point? They are, But still, I think that it's something to just watch and see, and I'm interested. So definitely will be watching the Braves as the season goes on, seeing if there's any more injuries. But I think right now you just need to get some more pitching, whether that's AAA, whether that's the trade market, whatever it is. I would like to see that. I think their pitching is a big question mark. I think after that, you have to look at Acuna, hope he can do better than last year. Obviously, it's not a fluke. We've seen him do this for 5-6 years now, but having this, I meant for last year, not this year, by the way. Last year being how good he was, it was definitely not a fluke. This year, it probably is a fluke. You've seen how good he is these past few years, and just having him play like this is not good for this team. It's not what you want to see, and you need him to play better. So I'm really hoping that he can, and I'm hoping the Braves can just do a little better. For the Dodgers, again, I think they are the best team in the National League. I think they're the second best team in baseball overall. I think that there isn't much debating at this point with how they just demolished the Braves. So I think right now they're second in the MLB behind the Orioles. I think, really the elite teams right now are Orioles, Yankees, Braves, Dodgers, which you all know of. You could even put the Phillies in there right now. I probably would, actually, so I'd put that as the top 5. So there's a lot of question marks about the Braves right now. Getting swept by the Dodgers doesn't answer them. But at the same time, I think you have to look at it in a different light. The Dodgers did have some of their better guys on the mound. They had Tyler Glasnow starting one of these games. They had James Paxton, who was doing really well. And again, the Braves just don't have that kind of pitching. You did have Max Fried on the mound one time, but he wasn't his usual self, going 7 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, not really what you want to see. And the day before for the Braves, they had on the they had on the mound Bryce Elder, who I don't think is going to make significant starts for them in the future. So he went 3 and a third innings, giving up 7 earned runs. So I don't think that these guys are going to be as significant of players for the Braves as they were in this series. So I think that's something to take into consideration, something to watch, and just see how this Braves roster does play and does unfold as the season goes on. So I'll be watching both these teams, but I would be a little worried if I'm a Braves fan. Falling out of first place isn't something I'd take lightly. Getting swept by a team that it's considered your equal, not something I'd take lightly. So, definitely watching these two teams, definitely seeing how they do perform this season. I think the Dodgers are much better than the Braves, and I think this series did prove it. But I still think the Braves are a really good team, and I think the trade deadline is going to be a big thing to watch, seeing what these two teams do acquire. So, I'll be seeing that, and we'll be watching these two teams overall in the season, and just seeing how both of them do perform, and seeing just overall what does happen. So, that is our second segment here, talking about the Dodgers sweeping the Braves over the weekend and just the impact it is having on the baseball world and just my overall thoughts on it. So, moving into our third segment, which is going to be talking about the Guardians and the roster shakeup they did have. They called up one of their top prospects, and they put one of their better hitters on the injured list. So, we're just talking about that, and we'll see you after the breaks. So, thanks and bye.